Hello and good morning. Ooh, there we go. Hello, hello, hello. Hi everyone, Matt, Shannon, Liana, Jaden. I love the exclamation point still, Jaden. It's not Jaden, it's Jaden. Adam's here, Madison, Mike, Dan. Hello and good morning. So happy to, see you all again, but be here with you all again. So very exciting, and Adam's jumping right into it. Love it. Love it. Joe, good morning. Go on, Adam. You can continue your question there. We'll hang for a bit, see, give some time for other people to come back. I know second day after break, maybe people are still moving a little slow. How was everyone's time off? Did anybody do anything exciting? I know it's really tough to do exciting things, but maybe you found some simple pleasures at home. Maybe you finished a book. Maybe you'll finish the TV series, beat a game, beat up your brothers or sisters. It's always a fun pastime of mine. Ooh, I gotta get my light. Hold on. There we go. Dylan, good morning. The suspect. Wait. Who's in that? Gong Yu? Never heard of it. Worth checking out though, Adam? Top 2% in Rocket League? Dang, son. That's pretty impressive. Ashley, hello, good morning. Yes, there was definitely a lot of sitting around going on over break for sure. Did a lot of walking. Okay, I just looked up I just Googled it, and I'm like, wait, this guy looks really familiar. And that would be why. He's Train to Busan. Which we talked about before break. Excellent film. Very cool. A true grinder. Like a hero. Like a sub sandwich. Like a hoagie. Jake, good morning. He's a lot cooler. Well, I guess when you're playing an action hero, it's a little bit different than playing a zombie escapist. Oh, okay. Where is this film available? Can I check it out? Is it on like Netflix or Hulu or something? I'm always down for a good action film. Especially if there's good fighting in it. I don't like my headroom here. But that's okay, we'll survive. Oh, Anna popped in. Hi, Anna. I don't know if I said hi to Anna, so we'll say hi to Anna. On YouTube? Oh, okay. Interesting. I did try and carve out time to watch some films at home, and I didn't. I got sucked into some TV shows that were really good, but I know they put all of, I don't want to mispronounce his name. So I won't. I'll look it up instead. Bong Joon-ho's films up on Hulu. So he was the one that did Parasite that came out last year. Nope. I think he did Snowpiercer as well. Yes, he did do Snowpiercer. But his films are on there, and I kind of want to sit down and watch all of them back to back to back. Okay. We'll give like another minute or so for some folks to show up. I want to be, I don't want to daddle too long because I know what I want to get into with you fine folks today. And I also know that yesterday, both my TV1 classes ran long, and I don't want to, like, at the end of the day, it was fine. My 4B didn't care, but my 3B ran up to 11:58, and I was like, guys, I got to go because I have to start another class, like, right this second. So I want to be aware of the time. Oh my God, Adam, watch it. It's fantastic. If you have Hulu, it's on there. But yeah, no, I'm excited for today because we get to kind of venture back into the TV production norm a little bit. And so I'm glad that everyone that's here is here because we're going to cover some stuff that is just really hard to figure out without some explanation. So I'll just give it another 37 seconds here. And if people pop late, they can always rewind. If people aren't here, they can always watch it later. Are you guys excited to be back doing this? At least something. I mean, yesterday a lot of my students were like tired, but kind of excited to have something throughout the day that they can actually do. You know, I know for some of us, spring break, I had days where I was like, I don't know what to do with myself. And that was tough. So like, I don't know, yesterday flew by really quickly. I'm sure today will as well. You guys are my first class of the day, and I got a ton of work done this morning. So like, it's already flying, which is good. But I hope you're excited and looking forward to getting back into the swing of it. I'm sure you've heard the statement by our governor and maybe superintendent that schools are going to be closed until May 15th at the earliest, which would put us back on May 18th at the earliest, if we're even back then at all. And I just don't know. But what that means is that at the very least, including this week, we've got another 4 weeks of digital learning. And I'm hoping that what you'll find with what we're going to go over today is that not only is it going to be true to form as to what we would do in class with video production and editing, but it's also, I'm hoping that the side effect is also it's going to alleviate some of your workload a little bit as we shift back towards projects. In that you're going to have more time to complete projects because projects are usually a little bit bigger and more involved. Excuse me. But you may find that the like class to class type of assignment that we've been doing in the past kind of lessens a little bit. And so while we're still going to have like bigger work to take care of, it's not going to be like as day to day. Like I think over the last few weeks, that was the longest stretch of class-to-class assignments I'd ever given, just because it's not in the nature of our class to do that. So I'm kind of excited to get back to being creative and doing things with video that hopefully you guys will be able to put your mark on and put your personality into and enjoy doing. So if you haven't already, today's class is going to be a healthy combo of me explaining some things and walking you through some things using our new video editing platform, WeVideo. So you saw in the classroom post that I put up with the live stream link in it this morning, the information for the website as well as your username and password. So if you don't have that open, you need to go back to Classroom and look at that. I can't put it in the chat, and I can't say it out loud. These videos aren't public, but if I put usernames and passwords out there verbally or in text, people can hunt them down and find them, and I don't want that to be the case. So if you need to go back the website is WeVideo.com. So I would strongly recommend popping open another tab and then having YouTube with this chat open, so at least you can hear it when I'm explaining things on the WeVideo screen, and then WeVideo open in another tab. And I'm just going to kind of ask politely that one of the biggest challenges in explaining some things with this is that obviously you're hearing things on a delay with the network and stuff. So I may pose a question and you guys might not hear it for about 25 seconds after I ask it. So the only thing I'm just going to ask for this time around is that while it may be a small pain in the butt to kind of bounce back and forth between tabs, if I ask you, give me an update on something, hey, thumbs up if we're good, thumbs down if we have questions or we need some help, please throw that in the chat. It's one way for me to know that you guys are moving along with me. All right. So I know YouTube doesn't allow for the most second to second interaction, but the benefit is that for the people that aren't here today, and I did have some people email me, tell me that they have some stuff going on, they can come back and watch this video later. And the same for you guys. If we move on next class and you're like, well, wait a minute, hold on, I'm lost. I'm going to go back to Monday's video and I can kind of scrub through and find parts where, oh, okay, this is what he said. And that's why I'm doing this. And a lot of you folks said that on your feedback surveys, which if I didn't get a chance to talk to you before break about, thank you for doing those. And if you didn't do them, I will still take them late. I would rather have that feedback than not. But a lot of you said that you liked this format. And so I'm really happy to hear that. And you guys also made some really nice comments to me, which I very much appreciate as well. That kind of warmed my heart. So let's move into it if we can. Now, of course, day one, there's probably going to be some weird technical issues that we come across, and that's okay. That's part of what we're going to figure out today. And it, kind of happened in class when we were setting up Premiere the first few times, as there always seemed to be some sort of login issue or something. So if we take care of all those today and we move forward into some small, simple stuff and then build on that next class, that's perfectly fine. I am going to keep a closer eye on the clock. So we'll probably wrap a little bit early just to make sure that I have enough time to reset everything and get prepped for my next period class. As I said before, my 2 classes yesterday ran over. So to jump right into Matt's question, when you log in, and I'm going to jump to my desktop view in a second, there is not a class code, all right? You have been automatically enrolled in my class. However, there are a small handful of people, and I'm going to jump to that screen in a second, that had already used or signed up for WeVideo prior to me enrolling you. Maybe you used it in an English class. Maybe you used it. I had a student that's like, oh, I used this in 8th grade. Okay, you're not part of my class, and we need to add you. So for those select few, and I do think that there, wow. I do think that there are 1 or 2 people from my memory that are going to have a small hiccup. We will work through that together. If you haven't logged into WeVideo yet, the password is case sensitive, so the letters that are capitalized need to be capitalized. All right, and I'm going to bounce over to my desktop view here so you guys can see what I see, and then I'm going to quickly check this list. Let's see who on this list. Anna and Joe and Adam. You guys are the 3 in this class. So Anna, Joe, and Adam, you guys have apparently already used this prior to me enrolling you. And please correct me if that's not the case. Once you log in, you should be looking at a screen that's somewhat similar to mine. This is your main dashboard layout. And so you're going to have options up here to create a new project. You can choose from a template. All right, I have recent edits. You do not, because unless you've used this before, you don't have anything that you've worked on. All right, up in the top, it's going to welcome you here. I apologize if it uses your full name or not a nickname. I pulled this from the a high school system, so it just pulled over exactly how it is in their system. All right, you won't have these options here. These are just for me to see. And then down below in the bottom left corner, it's going to ask for a classroom code. And it works similar to Google Drive or Google Classroom, I'm sorry. But you won't have to put one in as you've already been enrolled. Now, if you're Anna, Joe, or Adam, let's just take a quick look on the back end here. All right, as you can see, I'm going into my classroom groups. I've got 19 people enrolled in this class, which means some people are not. And I'm going to guess it's those three. And sure enough, it is. So let's see if we can at least find them. This has been hit or miss. So if I look for Adam, for example, there's Adam. Okay, great. And there's Anna. Okay, great. And if we got Joe, that would be a trifecta. That'd be perfect. Sometimes this works because you're already part of the system. Yesterday, I had one student. It was just he wasn't coming up at all. Is it going to be Joseph? What if I just did part of his last name? Beautiful. Save. Cool. 22 members. Hey, that's our class, and that's fantastic. Okay, so I'm just going to bounce back to the chat here. Was everyone, give me a thumbs up in the chat or a thumbs down in the chat. Did everyone have success logging in, or was there anyone that had issues logging in? If you've logged in successfully, like I said, you should see what is called your WeVideo dashboard. Looks like this. I'm going to bounce back to the chat for a sec. Let me know if we were good or we are having some difficulties. Whoops. Check one on the audio good? Okay, audio's good. Just checking my audio. And the thumbs start coming. Cool, keep them coming, gang. And please, 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 there is absolutely no harm, shame, or embarrassment. If you're like, I'm the only one that wants to put a thumbs down, do it. Like, I'd rather know. And listen, if I have to say things 5 or 6 times, that's okay, because then everyone's going to hear it and we're going to remember it better. So it's all good. All right. The thumbs are coming. I'll wait for a few more before I jump back to the dashboard there and start to go over some simple things. I figured today we're going to get into just some of the layout and interface stuff. We'll get as far as we can get, and then we'll just pick up there on Thursday, where again we'll get as far as we can get, and then I'll hopefully, the plan is for Thursday is to cover the last little bits and then kind of turn you loose with a more guided, structured, formal assignment, and then we'll go from there. Jake, thank you for the thumbs. Still waiting on a few people. Dylan, Liana, Matt, Mike, Shannon, Jaden, Dan, and Jake, thank you for the thumbs. I should do this on Twitch, and maybe I'll have that quicker response time. Food for thought. Anna, Joe, and Adam, did you guys have success logging in? I want to make sure that you were good there, especially since you were the 3 that had some issues auto-enrolling in my class. I've added you since, but if you guys can give me some indication. Adam's good. Okay, cool. I don't think Anna's here in the chat today. All right, let's bounce back on over. All right, and if you guys have questions, I'm going to pause periodically to jump back to the chat. So if you have questions, cool. I'm going to bounce back to my WeVideo tab here. All right, so if you want to listen to the chat and then look, well, you guys can pick what works best for you. Anna's good, Joe's good. Oh, Anna is here. Okay, beautiful. Perfect. All right, cool. All right, so I'll move slowly through some things. So if you want to see what I'm showing and then kind of bounce to the next tab and kind of tinker and play, the first few things you might not need to follow along too much with, so you can kind of hang on the YouTube video for now. I'm just going to explain a few things on the dashboard here. So as you guys saw on the back end here, you are already a part of my class. So there's no need to join another class. I guess unless another teacher decides they want to use this. I know some English teachers like do video editing. Maybe they're going to look into this. I'm not really sure. I emailed everyone and no one seemed to be interested. So it's just going to be us, but that's perfectly okay. All right, so at the top, you've got your dashboard menu, okay? And then you've got some options down below. Create new, or you can choose from a template, and these gives you some like preset layouts. Honestly, they're pretty cheesy. We're not really going to use those at all because we're above that. However, what we get into today is going to be a little bit different than just simply creating a new project, and I'll show you why in a second. All right. The other thing to note, okay, is that, and this is just in full transparency, on my end, okay, I'm not trying to be like super sneaky, okay, but this system, much like Google, lets me see what you guys are doing in your edits. All right, so it will let me know, for example, how many times Adam has opened his project and when was the last time he worked on it. And if I need to, if he's working on it, I can actually get into his project, all right, on my screen and do something as well, and then back out of it and turn it back over to Adam. So that's just a feature of this platform. I didn't know that existed prior, but I'm just throwing it out there as because I can see that, and you guys know what we can see on Google Drive. You know, if let's say I give a project and then a week later I get an email, oh, Mr. Leonard, I was doing the video project in WeVideo and then I went to export and then it disappeared. I can go in and look and see and be like, well, actually it says that you haven't started that project because you haven't done anything since the first. I just wanted to let you guys know I can see that. All right. You have an option for projects, all right, which as you can see, the dashboard will show the 3 most recent, but I have more projects than that. All right, because I have some other projects for my other classes, and you guys will be listed here as well very shortly. All right, I have media. This is all the media that I have personally brought into WeVideo. And of course, I've organized them in folders because that's the best way to stay organized. When I'm finished with something and I export it, it will show in my exports section, okay? The only thing that you don't have up here is that admin tab. Now, I want to spend a little bit of time on the projects tab because this is where things can get a little confusing. All right. I've got in my sidebar here, there's a tab that says My Projects, and down below that, there is a tab that says Shared with Me. Now, if I click on Shared with Me, I don't have anything because no one has shared a project with me specifically. However, I have created a project that I shared with you so that we can kind of mess around with some clips and play with some stuff today and then eventually turn that into our practice edit. And so your Shared with Me tab is going to look a little bit different. In fact, you're going to see a TV1 parentheses 2A practice edit project listed in this section called Shared with Me. All right. Going to bounce back here. Okay, so far so good. Whoopsie doozle. Let's bounce back. Okay, sorry, I'm just checking to make sure the stream is doing okay. We just dropped from excellent to good. Okay. So in that, if you're on your dashboard and you go to projects and you go to Shared with Me, you should see TV1 parentheses 2A practice edit. And if you click on that, it's going to ask if you want to start a new video in that project or a new edit in that project. And I'm going to ask that you go ahead and do that. All right. So from your dashboard, go to projects, go to Shared with Me, double click the project that I've created for you. A window will pop up asking if you want to create a new video. You do. And then it's going to ask you to select a template. You're going to select blank. Okay. And when you do that, it's going to take you into, all right, your editing layout, which looks like this. I'm just going to tweak mine a little bit to get back to, there we go. All right. So you're going to end up seeing this. Now I'm going to pause for a sec. All right. If you guys want to go ahead and get into this project, excuse me, then go ahead and do that. I'm going to check the chat real quick and make sure that if anyone has questions, I'm able to ask them. All right, so if you're able to get into the project, give me a thumbs up in the chat or let me know that we're good. If we're having issues or trouble, let me know that as well. I gotta change that setting. Yes, Dylan's good. Daniel's good. Shannon's good. Awesome. Cool. All right, now it's very important, okay, that you made sure you started that new video from the projects tab. If you start the new video from your dashboard, all right, you're going to have an issue when I get into the next phase. Jaden, yes, blank edit. I might be able to type that faster. Yup. Anna's good. Awesome. You guys are kicking butt with this. Ooh. All right. So we'll get in. I'll get into some interface stuff here. I'm going to bounce back to this just for a sec. Just for a sec. Hopefully it lets my stream catch up a little bit. All right, Michael's good. Awesome. All right. So I'm going to give you guys some time to tinker, all right, as it looks like we're a little ahead of schedule, and that's awesome. Again, I just want to make sure I have enough time to prep my next period class. So we'll probably go realistically for another 15, maybe 20 minutes. And then we might call it a day a little bit early. But that's okay. I'd rather make sure that the next time we meet, you guys, you know how to log in. You can get back to this project because it'll be in your recents. And yeah, so that's okay. Cool. All right. I'm going to bounce back to my desktop here. Okay. So follow along on my screen or on the YouTube screen just for the next few minutes. All right. So as I break my light. Okay. All right. So this is the main editing layout. Now, personally, I think it helps if you're able to go full screen with it. All right. As it gives you a little bit more flexibility and room. All right. But I got to bounce between some things, so I'm not going to do that. All right. So at the very top, you still have your dashboard menu, all right? And underneath that, you're going to have your project menu. And so there are 4 options there. The first one you'll see that is just my name. It's what I've titled the project, essentially. And if you click on that, it's just going to ask you to rename your project, which we can do. Why not? So we're just going to call it your name dash practice. So if you guys can bounce over to your WeVideo tab, click on the heading here to rename that video after yourself. And as you start to do that, I'll show you what I see on my end. So I can see that Adam has a project in there. And if I want to, I can unlock Adam's project and get into it, but I won't do that because that's not nice. Shannon's got one. Adam's got one, but he didn't rename it. It just says my video. Now Liana's in there. Groovy. Groovy. Madison's got one. Awesome. All right, so you guys can see Jake, Mike are filling in, Dylan's filling in. There's Anna, cool. All right, so you can even see on my screen that, like, this is what I see. So it'll let me know, all right, what the title of the project is, who created it, when it was last modified, meaning when it was last accessed or touched. So just know that I have that ability. Again, not trying to be sneaky. Otherwise, I wouldn't tell you, and I would just know, but full transparency. Okay, let's get out of this tab and back to our main layout. All right. So now that we've renamed it, we've got two other sections next to that, one of which says themes, and that's going to bring you back to these templates that have like automatic transitions and effects and styles and stuff. We're not going to use those. Now you can play around with them, but for our work, we're probably not going to end up needing them. And then the last section there is linked resources. This is helpful if, say, you want to do a video and you want to shoot that video with your webcam and cut away to PowerPoint presentations that are on Google Slides. You can do that by linking a resource. I don't think that's going to be something that we're going to end up doing. So we don't need to worry so much about that. All right, the last thing on this list to the left of where you named your project is the traditional menu drop down, those three lines, which if you click on, all right, will just give you an option to do a new edit, to open a project, to save this project, which is the most helpful thing here, all right, as well as move through your version history. If you made some mistakes and want to go back, you can do that. Settings, there's really not much there outside of just choosing your editing mode, which is a simple version or a advanced version. And we are advanced users, so we're going to keep that set to timeline. All right, so there's not much in there, although it is helpful to save. I always save before I close the tab. You will notice in the bottom left-hand corner, all right, there's some orange font there that will show you when the changes have been saved. All right, so right now it says all changes are saved. I haven't done anything, but it still saved that. If you make an edit and then like go make a sandwich or something and come back, it may say last saved 3 minutes ago. So that's really helpful just to keep an eye on, hey, did it save? And if not, I should save it. Now you know we can go to that main menu and go to save, which again, I always do before I close that tab. All right. So if we move down a menu within the project, okay, you'll notice that the layout, of course, is a little bit different than Premiere. All right, instead of having a source monitor and a program monitor, we've got one monitor that kind of does both. Instead of having a media tab, we've got several media tabs, and let's just walk through them very quickly. Okay, so the first one that comes up by default is this starred menu called Stock Media. Now, what shows up in your stock media is going to look different every time you get into the project, because I think WeVideo just pulls a bunch of clips and says, here, take a look at our stock video. And mine came up as national parks, which is cool. If I just clicked on one, I can preview it. All right, so these are some really nice clips. If you want to search for stuff, like you can search for stuff too. Let's search for dogs. Oh, look at the puppy. Oh, look at this puppy. Oh, look at the puppy in the water. Oh my God. Oh, it's too cute. So what's really nice is that WeVideo provides you some stock footage that you can kind of tinker with and play and move into your edit. You can also drop down this menu and you can search for static images. You can search for audio and songs. Once you find something you like, you can favorite it. Whoops, I don't want to favorite all dogs. I just want to favorite this dog. So I'm going to heart that one because he's the best. So if I go to my favorites, it's there. Cool. All right. So that's really nice. And that's also something I wish I would have known, because I went ahead of time and found a whole bunch of stock footage to pull for you to kind of mess around with, not knowing that this was here. So that's okay. All right. And you can feel free to use that. It's there for you guys to use. Take advantage of it, right? Maybe you're doing something at home and you want an exterior shot of a house. What if I just did house? I don't know what would come up, but okay, look at that. Beautiful. This might not actually be your house, but if you're doing a project at home and want to get an exterior shot of a house because that's your establishing shot, you can use this without actually having to go outside and get that. Maybe mom and dad are like, no, you can't leave the house. Perfectly fine. Boom, stock footage. Throw it in there. All right, cool. So I'm going to check the stream real quick, make sure we're good. Okay, looks like we're good. All right, now the next tab over where it says My Media. This is going to let me know whether or not we follow the directions correctly. If I click on My Media, all right, I've got a couple options in the sidebar here, and you can see that in the folder called My Media, which is open right now, I've got folders for all the projects that I've done. So I've got a music folder. I've got my morning show that I put into this folder. So these are all the clips from my morning show. I've got some practice video, and I've got my test folder for when I created this account. Now, you won't have anything there because you haven't brought any media in. And you can see at the top here, there's an option to import media from a source. You can record, all right, either using your screen, like you can screencast, or you can use your webcam. You can also narrate. So if you have a microphone or your built-in mic, you can kind of record a voiceover if you need to as well, which is really helpful. Okay, the import button will allow you to import media from your Google Drive. So if I click on Drive as an option, it takes me right to my Google Drive where I can select a folder and then take the video clips in that folder, and it brings them over to WeVideo. All right, it's worth noting that that does take a little bit of time because WeVideo needs to not only import but kind of transcode that a little bit. So if you're taking a lot of stuff, it's one of those things where you want to import and then kind of like take a break, walk away for a bit, and then come back when those are all finished. Okay, so the reason why I really like WeVideo for, you know, being at home like we are is that you'll be able to shoot things on your phone, let's say, upload it from your phone to Google Drive, and then bring it from Google Drive into WeVideo, and then you can edit that from anywhere. Your Chromebook, your house computer. I think you can do it on your phone. I haven't tried that yet. But because it's all in the cloud, it's all online, you don't have to worry about storing that media locally. All right. Now, the part I had mentioned on whether or not we set up the project correctly. You should have a folder called Project Media. And if you successfully went into projects, shared with me, and set up the video here, then that project will contain the video clips that I have put in for you. If you went to your dashboard and hit new video, you're not going to see those clips because that new video wasn't made as part of this project. So if you go to that, you will see then the clips I put in for you, which are just 2 songs, all right, and then a whole bunch of stock footage I found on a website. So it's kind of randomized, all right, but it'll give us something to play with, all right. I'll get back to this in a sec. I'm going to move through the rest of this menu here and then go check the chat to see if anybody has any questions, okay. The next window over is text, and for those of you that hate doing text in Premiere, and trust me, I am one of them, you're going to love this. It simplifies a lot of the styles and looks you may want and puts them into templates. I'm not a fan of templates, but text templates I really like. So the nice thing here is that WeVideo will also preview what that text looks like and how it appears in this window. So if you want to know what a above the horizon title looks like, well, if you click it once, it'll show you. Okay, cool. If you want to know what this bullseye title looks like, again, it will preview. All right, and you can kind of break down that search a little bit. These are all motion text. You can go into static if you just want a simple title. Okay, you can go, there's some seasonal stuff too. So, you know, Easter just happened. We got a little cute little bunny title. And there's a lot of stuff there you can kind of play with. There's some call outs. These aren't super helpful, only because they're primarily like if you're doing presentational stuff, you can kind of highlight certain things. For the most part, most of your stuff you're going to find in motion and static, and that's really cool. We'll get into how you manipulate text probably next class. All right. Audio is going to work the same way as your stock media tab, meaning the audio, all right, that you import is not in this tab, it's in with your media. Okay, the audio that's here that's available for you is free music that WeVideo selects. There's a section for sound effects, so if you want to look for animal sounds, we can find a horse herd. Now I can't hear it because my speakers aren't on, and you can't hear it because you can't hear what my computer's playing, but there are sound effects there for you guys to use at your heart's content. And there's a small folder called Premium Music, all right, that you have access to because you are premium members. So any of the audio in this audio tab, you're free to use in your projects. Go nuts with that. All right. Transitions work the same way as text, where if you click it once, it'll preview it. So if you're not sure what a mosaic transition is, select it once, and it'll show you what a mosaic transition looks like. All right. Paper airplane. Boom. Cool. Ooh, curtains. All right. So some of these are like really cheesy. All right. Like that looks bad. I think, you know, like vertical flips, like I think some of this stuff you wouldn't use in an actual film, but, you know, they're there and you have access to them. Okay. Backgrounds, the last one before I check back on the stream, are just for, say you want to do a title, I don't know, maybe over this background. It's just a looping animation. If you shoot in front of a green screen, you can actually remove that green screen and put some of these backgrounds back there. So some of them are kind of funky, but you can use these as you need to or see fit in your projects. All right, I'm going to pause for a second and go back to the chat and see if anyone has any questions right now. What kind of edit are we going to do? Funky question, Jaden. The first time out, of course, is going to be a little bit more simplistic because I just want to make sure that you guys can use this software and feel comfortable using it. So don't expect the first project, which we're going to get into next class, to be like the most hardcore of hardcore. I want to make sure that we're all on the same page moving forward. So it's going to be structured similarly to maybe the first project or two that we did in class back in September, October. Because honestly, if you do those projects and you go, Mr. Leonard, that was super easy, that would make me feel great because it means that it was easy because you understood how to use this software. Adam discovered Hip Hop Santa, which, yes, and I named the clips. So Hip Hop Santa is just, it is what it is. All right. But so far, so good. Everyone moving okay? I'm going to get into a few more quick things before we wrap on the day. All right, but if you guys are sitting pretty, then I will continue on. All right, so I'm going to tinker with the My Media stuff for a second just to show you some basic things as you start to move clips to the timeline. And that might be all the time we have for today, and that's okay. We just got a quick lay of the land. All right, when we get back into this next class, I'm going to go over a few more details with your audio video tracks, how we do some simple edits, transitions, and modify some things. All right, so we are right on pace. I know we're moving slow, we're being thorough, but that's okay. So we can take Hip Hop Santa. I really like this seal though, because he's so cute. Look at that cute little seal. Just want to smush his face. But we'll take Hip Hop Santa, that's fine. Here's Hip Hop Santa. So in My Media now, I've selected this clip. All right, it's going to show up in this preview program monitor, and it'll allow me to play that out so I can see Hip Hop Santa here doing his little hip hop thing. All right. Now, sadly, the one thing I can't do is use my shortcuts to set in points and out points, but that doesn't mean I can't set in points and out points. I just can't hit I and I can't hit O. So this clip tells me that it's 11 seconds and 17 frames, which is roughly 11 and a half seconds. So if, let's just say, for example, I wanted to move this clip to my timeline, but I only wanted the first part, you'll notice that in this window that I can adjust my in points and out points at the front and end of that window by selecting these tabs that will highlight green when you move over them. And so if I wanted to use the first part of the video, we're just going to grab that out point, not the window, the out point here, and we're going to shrink that down. And you'll notice that the timestamp in the bottom left corner of that window starts to change too. So it'll tell you, hey, this clip's 11 seconds and 17 frames. Where do you want that out point to be? And if we just split the difference, I'm going to round up. We'll say 6 seconds. So I'm basically saying in this whole clip, we're using just this part. And that concept should be really familiar to you because that's the same as in Premiere, is double-clicking your clip, setting your in point and out point, and then moving it to the timeline. The only difference here is that while we were accustomed to grabbing from anywhere in the clip to move to the timeline, it doesn't work like that in WeVideo. If I go to do that, it actually just highlights everything. And this is a kind of a reworking of the brain a little bit. Instead of clicking and dragging from over here, I'm just going to take the clip back from this media pane and move it to my timeline. Okay. And now I have the first 6 seconds of that clip in my timeline. So let's just jump down to the timeline for a second so I can show you guys some things down there. All right, you'll notice that it's pretty zoomed out. So one of the first things I like to do is down in the bottom right corner, zoom in just so I can see what I'm doing here. All right. The other thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to extend the track height so that I can see that clip a little bit better. And you'll notice that the tracks are named down here. All right, video 1, video 2, and then there's an audio track. And if I just click on any one of those, I can rename that if I want to, which is really helpful for staying organized. So when I did the morning show, I had a whole track that I renamed for my anchor. I had a whole track that I renamed for my segments, and then a whole track I renamed for my graphics and lower thirds. So it was just a nice way to stay organized. To the right of that name is a drop-down arrow, which I can click and adjust the track height. So usually by default, I like to work in this setting with one exception, and I'll show you what that is now. So I'm going to go back up to my media pane and grab another clip, and I'm looking for one specifically because, all right, this clip is called Live Band, 13 seconds and 3 frames, and I can play that out. All right, it's pretty cool looking. All right, and I'm going to add, let's shorten it to there. So right when she's perfect. Okay, and let's grab that and move that down to my timeline. And you can see that when I move it down, it won't allow me to put it on top of a clip, which is why it's in red. I'm going to put it right next to it where it's in green. And there's my playhead I can scrub through. All right, the one thing that you may find with scrubbing is that it is a little spotty because remember, this is playing back all this video over the internet. So, you know, if your connection maybe is a little bit slow, scrubbing is not always the best. You might just need to play that back. All right, so a simple cut. Now, the one thing I'll talk about before I just kind of ask any last questions and then get back to the chat, all right, is that you'll notice that these clips, as they play back, all right, there is no reference to audio, okay? You'll notice that when I move these clips down, it didn't put any audio in the audio track, all right? And I don't have any audio meters indicating at what level these are playing back. All right, and that is one downside to this software is that we don't have audio meters. I think that's huge because in essence, with audio meters, I can edit the whole thing without needing to have the volume on it on. So the second confusing part is that this clip here does not have audio. Hip Hop Santa, believe it or not, no audio in that clip. All right, the live music, however, Live Band does have audio. I can't see it in this view. So what I need to do is, in my video track 1, use that track height dropdown to show the biggest option. All right, this is how it is originally. This is how we had it before, just so we can see the thumbnails a little bit better. And then if I click that last option, thumbnails still stay the same, but now I can see that the one clip has audio, whereas the second clip doesn't. So let's say, for example, you're shooting a video at home on your phone and you're going to put all those clips in your timeline and you don't want any of the audio in there. There's no way to separate the audio from the video, but that's not to say that we can't get rid of it. All right, you can do one of two things, and then I'll end here for the day. Let's say you shoot 15 things on your phone and you don't want any of that sound in the background. Maybe you know, mom and dad was yelling at brother and sister. Maybe the TV was on around the corner and it was really loud and we don't need to hear the volume. So what you can do is you can take this meter, all right, and adjust the volume in video 1 to go all the way down. This would make every clip with audio mute if we lower that all the way. But let's hypothetically assume that you want audio in one clip and not the rest, or maybe you want audio in all the clips except for one. All right, so if you want to adjust the audio here, you'll notice that when I click this clip, I've got some options that tab up here. All right, and I'll get into the rest of these next class. All right, but one of those is for audio. So if I click on that speaker, I can see that for this clip, if I were to adjust the audio here, I can just pull this lever down. And you'll notice that the section in the audio in the clip, that gray starts to lower a little bit, all the way down to nothing. And of course, it gives you the percentage readout. If it's too quiet, you can boost it up, which be very careful with. Without meters, it's tough to gauge where. All right. So that's a really quick way to get audio out of that clip, or for the whole track if you need to. I don't want to get sidetracked into getting into too many things because we're getting into some nitpicky stuff with this menu and some of those options there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pause for a sec, and I'm going to bounce back to my cam, and I'm going to go back to our YouTube stream window with the chat, all right, because I do want to put a bow on our time together today. All right, so my last question for you guys is sawing, geez, just showed you. And without getting into things too much more, all right, or having a lot of playtime on your own, on a scale of 1 to 10, where do you think you feel comfortability-wise in being able to use this platform so far? All right, there's some things I haven't showed you yet, so don't be like, well, I don't know it all, but like just based on what I showed you, do you feel like it's been pretty easy to understand so far? Scale of 1 to 10, 10 being a I've got this, a 1 being not a chance, and of course, you know, if you're somewhere in between, that's perfectly fine. I just want to get a gauge of where everybody is. So let me know in the chat, all right, before we wrap up on the day, and then I'll make some closing marks, and then we'll biggity bounce so that I can hit reset and do it all again. Biggity, biggity, biggity bounce. Reset all my windows here. Cool. Nope, my stock media is now all weather clouds. Which I thought it was supposed to thunderstorm today. I guess not. Adam's a 9, Shannon's a 9, Dylan's a 7, Dan's a 7, 8. Wow, all right, you guys are scoring high. This is fantastic. That's great. That's great. I think you'll find that while there's a small adjustment, Jake is an 8, Jaden's an 8, I think you're going to pick up on it really quickly. It's rather intuitive, all right, so it's simple, and your editing skills from Premiere will cross over, right? I always equate it to like using tools. I may pick up a hammer, and that hammer is probably different than every other hammer I've ever used, but the concept in using it is still the same. It's just, it's going to feel different. It might look different. It might be more effective, less effective, but once you know how to use a hammer, you can use any hammer. So editing is kind of the same if you think about it like that, right? If you've edited on Premiere, you can very quickly adapt and learn any editing platform because they're all pretty similar. Maddie's a 7. Cool. Awesome. So we'll get into some of the more specific stuff, like how do we modify a clip, some effects, and then we'll do some transitions, piecing some clips together at the start of next class. And what I would like to do is leave you with enough time in class to tinker and play with stuff. And of course, if you want to tinker and play with stuff now, later today, before, go for it. Like, there's no harm in just kind of messing around and playing with stuff if you want to figure it out on your own, if you're intrigued or you're having fun seeing what we were doing. I want to cover the last little bit of stuff on Thursday, and then hopefully with enough time, leave off with a very simple editing project using this media that we can piece together with a little bit of time together. So if you guys have questions, I can be here to answer questions. I don't think it's going to take you too long to do. So it might, due date right now is pending. If it's assigned Thursday halfway through class, it'll most likely be due on Monday at the end of class. But like I said, it's not going to be a complex project. It's just a way to make sure that you guys use the software, hitting some checkpoints, and let me know that we understand so that we can move on to some bigger things. All right, that being said, as I, of course, talk way too much, we're going to wrap for today. So guys and gals, thank you so much for being here. This was a really important class to jump back into because of what we covered. So I will see you all on Thursday. All right. No assignment for today, so enjoy that. And we'll get back into WeVideo and our assignment on Thursday. All right, so enjoy the rest of your afternoon. Good luck with your assignments. If you need anything, email me, reach out, okay? And we will talk then. All right, adios, everyone. Bye.